Hello, everyone, and welcome to 9 Inch Charge. Welcome to another Old World episode. And for too long, Tom, on this channel, there has been talk, and not enough action. So, what have we done to resolve that?
We played a quick game of 8th edition.
Yes, we played a game for the first time since the end times. We played a game.
Yeah.
I've been busy painting my Wood Elf army, as many of you may know, and I've got up to kind of 3,000+ points ish. And Tom, you went to your mum's, didn't you, and had a route around
did.
the cupboards and
Yeah,
in the loft.
I think it's called Liberated. I liberated my dwarf.
They were stuck in their hold somewhere
Yeah.
underground or somewhere dark where they like it. So
I found about 1,500 points then.
yeah, so that's what we played. We played 1,500 points. It was really fun to make a list and to get prepared and to get the books out and to get excited. We always talk about it. We always get excited about it, but we just haven't been playing. But now that's all changed. So yeah, we were lent a space by Ben Hall from the 2Ps, a lovely gaming space, and we played 1,500 points. Why don't we go through the list, Tom, what we brought, and then we'll talk about our experience of the game.
Yeah. So my list consisted of a dwarven thane with a great weapon. We had a Gromwell armor, an armor of stone for +1 armor save. We had a BSB with the major rune of, I can't remember the name. Essentially, it was a +5 ward against shooting attacks.
Oh yeah,
that was for anyone in 6 inches, which I thought was going to be mega. And it conferred a 3+ ward save on him. I think it's a 3+ or a 4+. So he was essentially like a 3+ armor save, 3+ ward, thane. They're pretty disgusted anyway. And then I had a runesmith who was there to carry a scroll. Essentially, he had a scroll of spell breaking level 3. So if I rolled a 4+, Dan would forget a spell, which did come in effect. I think you forgot the withering or some horrible
spell from the Law of Shadow.
Yeah, it was something really horrible. I really didn't want him getting off. And then for my core, I had 20 warriors with hand weapon and shield, full command, and that's where. No, I didn't have any heroes in that unit at all. I didn't bunker them there. I had 2 units of 10 thunderers, so the ones with the handguns. They had no command. I had a unit of 20 longbeards. Sorry, I'm trying to do this all from memory. I don't have my sheet. 20 longbeards, full command, and that's where my thane, the BSB, and the rune priest hid and kind of buffed, and they were kind of like the center of my line, giving everybody else a nice 6-inch bubble of ward save. And because it's fantasy, it's not every model, it's the unit. So even if a guy's like one guy's within an inch, everyone gets it. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
And then the big guns had a cannon with the rune of forging and a rune of fire. Then I had an organ gun with a rune of accuracy, a rune of forging, and then a grudge thrower with a rune of forging. Yeah, I think just had the rune of forging and accuracy.
Yeah. And I think, did you mention the quarrelers? You had tank or thunder?
No, yeah. It's 2 units of 10 thunderers. It was the engineer I forgot. An engineer sat behind a cannon, sat behind an organ gun and entrenched it, giving it hard cover, so -2 to all shooting attacks. And I kind of like deployed my gun line on the deployment line, just so I was in range of anything Dan wanted to put down. Essentially, if he deployed exactly 24 inches away from me. And then my cannon, I kind of threw away all the way to the right flank, just so, there's a potential to get some chonky side shots off. And that was my list.
What did I take? So my list was based around what I had painted. So I took one unit of everything that I had painted. So no one was left out. So I had my core troops were 20 Glade Guard with a level 4 Mage Law of Shadow in there. And I think they had the Power Scroll, maybe something like that. And they had Hagbane arrows, so they were all poisoned. The reason why I took Hagbane was so I could go hunting after war machines, because it's quite difficult to wound war machines. But if you hit on a 6, then you can start to clear them off quite effectively. That was the idea. I had my 20 Eternal Guard, and in there I had a noble who had the Hail of Doom arrow, which, if anybody's played Wood Elves, they've encountered the Hail of Doom arrow, because it's almost like an auto-include item, really. You shoot it off, and it splits into 3d6 magical strength 4 arrows. So it's a bit swingy, because it could be 3, but equally, you could get 3 6s, and you could shoot pretty much the same as a whole unit Glade Guard, but at higher accuracy and higher strength. So I took that, and then I had 20 Wildwood Rangers, which was good to play with, because when I played Jeremy in 6th edition the other day, Wildwood Rangers weren't in the book at that point. So I got a unit that's useless in 6th edition. So good to get there. And then I had 3 Treekin, which I was a bit like, he's just going to cannon straight through them or fire them off or whatever, but with Rune of Fire. But I did think, well, I've painted them, so they're going in the list. And then I had a Great Eagle for my rare and 5 Way Watchers. And yeah, so we deployed. I deployed 24 inches away from Tom, and I deployed opposite the organ gun. And I think I got +1 for deployment, but I lost the roll. And do you want to just go through turn 1 shooting, Tom? Because I think it's quite significant, isn't it?
There's a reason we're not doing turn 1 movement for dwarfs, is because I didn't do any. I just stood still. Organ gun, I just thought, well, that's the most important thing first, right? We'll do the organ gun. Rolled a hell of a lot of shots. I think it's like 18 shots. And it was ballistic skill 4 from the engineer, +1, so 5. So it was hitting on, I think I ended up hitting on 4s, or no, 5s, because you're long range and cover, and that was it. And I wounded and killed 13. Yeah, I killed a hell of a lot.
It was a hell of a roll.
Yeah, it was class. Great from my perspective. And then your Glade Guard ran away, didn't?
Yeah, so the Glade Guard fled in turn 1. That was the first thing that happened, and they fled with the wizard. So in my turn, on the turn you rally, you can't shoot in the turn that you rally. So that took them out for 2 turns, and they were the biggest threat that I had at that point. What was really funny about that was I went back to the old Wood Elf forum, asride.org, that I used to post on through 5th edition, I think, from 5th to 8th edition, I used to post on there. And I looked at an old game that we had played, which is Wood Elves versus Dwarves. And in it, I did a mini bat rep on the forum. And the first thing that I wrote was, I deployed my Glade Guard over 30 inches away so I couldn't be hit by the organ gun. And then in turn 1, I moved forward and poisoned it off. And I was just like, oh my goodness, why have I not followed my own advice? Why did I not think that I'm just going to get completely taken off by this war machine the other side of the table? So, but I guess I kind of thought, oh, I got +1 for first turn, and we're just getting back into it. I think really that summarizes turn 2, because exactly this, I moved up, and exactly the same thing happened to the Wildwood Rangers. They fled after being shot by the organ gun. So then really the only units that I had in play were the Eternal Guard that moved up, the Treekin that moved up, the Eagle got stone throwed off because of Rune of Accuracy, just landed on his head.
Yeah.
The
The Way
What
Watchers
else
spent all
fled?
game
The
running
Way
away.
Watchers fled and rallied and fled and rallied and fled. I think most of the game. I can remember totaling up how many fleas I had from shooting and combat and panic and all the rest of it. And in that game, seven times I fled. So on the painting desk today, this chap here on this horse, he is. I've taken his spear off because it's going to be a banner. So I'm making a BSB because, for goodness sake, you talk about elven discipline and things like this, and it was just, well, to be honest, it was a rout. Really, it was a massacre. To be honest, it was completely fair and justified because, I mean, this is what Wood Elves do for a living. Really, is just take people's toys off the table from afar before they've done anything. So I think I fully deserved it for all the times that I had done that to other people.
It was a good game. Good game, though.
Yeah, it was, and it was great to finally play. I mean, when Age of Sigmar came out, I converted my Wood Elves over onto round bases and started playing Living Cities, and I never looked back really until the Old World was announced, and then I looked in the loft and discovered, oh, I've got bloody loads. so I've painted all those up, and now it's nice to finally be able to play. And I not only have I played you, I've also played Jeremy. And I'm happy to say that I won that game. It's nice to get one. Nice to get one win in. But yeah, how did you find the game, Tom? In all,
funny, I was going to ask you that question because I know we've done a video before talking about like 8th edition and what we remember of it, and playing it, it just like everything just felt right. It felt really smooth. It felt like a proper game to play, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't find the movement was janky. There was a bit of like going to the rule books every now and again because you kind of have to relearn the game. But everything, it just kind of felt a bit intuitive, if that makes sense. It felt like we've been playing it for ages.
I felt that it was quite smooth compared to when I played 6th, because I haven't played 6th edition since 6th edition. I found that I was running things through, like, so I was getting 5th, 6th, and 7th all muddled. And I had to keep looking, and there is some stuff that isn't explained. So, like, for example, when I had my Treekin and they've got a frontage of 3, in 6th edition, the Treekin came out right at the end of 6th edition. There isn't monstrous cavalry. Oh, sorry, monstrous infantry. So they still would have needed 4 to have a rank, but I took 6 instead of 8, so I didn't have a rank, and like funny things like that. So it's nice that the rules in 8 seem to cover everything. I did think that there were things that I enjoyed more about my 6th edition game than I did our 8th edition game, but it wasn't to do with gameplay mechanics. It was to do with list writing and things like that. Because in 8th, there's not many magic items. There's quite significantly less, and there's less that you can kind of do with your heroes, and you're funneled towards pushing your heroes into being level 4 wizards anyway. I really like that you could pre-measure. I mean, not being able to pre-measure in 6th was weird. I like that in combat you can strike back and you don't just remove stuff from the front rank and then nothing happens. It's funny, in both the games, the Treekin were the only unit that did anything, even though in 8th edition I never would have taken Treekin. I would have just I haven't painted any Wild Riders yet, but that is it's on the list. I've done an 8th edition kind of tournament style list because Tom and I have discovered that tournaments are happening at Firestorm Games in Cardiff, which isn't very far away from us. So
that was
kind
dangerous.
of want to get ourselves, we want to get ourselves in a position where we can play some of that, irregardless of when the Old World drops. We kind of want to just be playing more games now. So now that the good thing is now that we've kind of relearned the game and had an introduction back into playing and not just talking about what the units used to do for us and what the lore is, now we kind of can say what they do for us and how they go. And we're looking to record a game in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Which will go up on the channel. Maybe that'll probably be up in December sometime because we're going to try and do quite a lot of stuff around Christmas, aren't we?
Yeah, it's going to be a busy old period. That one.
So yeah, Tom, final thoughts?
Loved it. It took me straight back. Right. So when we first like met and we were playing on your in your games den, it took me straight back to there. I was just like, oh, all we're missing is Domino's Pizza and Graham, and we're there. It's like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, I do.
It's
So
so good.
yeah, I used to have a games room. This is when I lived with Dan, when we were house sharing, and we had a dining room that we never used, so we converted it into a games den. I don't think we've ever spoken about this on the channel, but we got the games table, and then we lowered the light down over it so that when you're in the room, the light really only covered the table. And then we got camo netting, and we strung that from the ceiling, so that came down to like kind of just above where the light was. So you kind of go in and kind of stoop your head, and you get into like the game zone. I think there was one time when we had a smoke machine in there for Halloween
Yeah,
and stuff like this, and we
that
used to
was
have
sick.
we went down to like a secondhand furniture place, and we got a sofa and stuff, and we had every week we would have pizza or something like that and games. And I can remember days where I was like eating pizza and I'd fall asleep in my chair and then wake up and it'd be like, oh, how was your game? And then we'd play like all day.
Yeah,
And it wasn't uncommon. I think there was a day there were 5 games of Warhammer Fantasy Battles played in a day.
yeah, that was not uncommon. We smashed through him back then.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
but now obviously this is back when we were bachelors, and now there's wives and fiancés and kids and work and all the
yeah,
rest of it. I mean, I was working part-time at that time and just putting
yeah,
all my money into Warhammer and stuff like that. But I wouldn't change it. But it's a shame really that now we're saying, oh, we might do 1 game in 2 weeks, whereas we would have played 5 games a week if it was just the
yeah.
2 of us there.
Should have
But yeah,
smashed him
good to
out.
get back into it. Good to get back into the swing of it, and we're really hoping to do some battle reports. So there's some different things that we want to do. So we want to record some 6th edition. We want to record some 8th edition. We want to do some one-offs. We want to do some Triumph and Treachery because there's 4 of us at least.
3.
Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah, I've got all the
so
counters and
because Dan's got his high elves, Jeremy's got his dark elves, I got my wood elves, and you're the poor bugger who's got to put up with playing all the elves. But that's fine because dwarves got a good grudge against elves.
against everybody.
All right, so I think that's it for today's video, everyone. Just a short and sweet one, just to let you know that we played a game, and we're just really happy that we played a game, and there's more to come. And I did think about doing one of those old school back rats. Remember, you had like the rectangles that would move across the
Yeah,
map, but I fell just short of it. But if anybody knows where you can make those still, if there's some website that does it for you, put a link down, and maybe I'll do one for how the game panned out, and I might do one for Jeremy that people can look at if they're interested in. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed us just chatting excitedly about our game. Subscribe if you want to see more, especially if you want to see battle reports, because they are coming. And we will catch you next time. There we go.